So last week, the Scout started and ran with carb cleaner. First time I've heard it run. I think it runs well. I think it's going to run well. And I was hoping the floor pans would be in for this weekend, but they're not. So there's no lack of work to be done on this. So I think I'll take the bumper off this week. Remove that patch. I don't know what's under that patch that somebody put on that front corner there. Take off those homemade side marker lights that I think are supposed to be running lights for the top of a large truck, and just start taking it apart a little at a time. I'm not going to take apart too much. This is a problem I find, especially with beginners, is that they'll buy a project, disassemble the whole thing, and end up with a huge pile of parts, and then they get overwhelmed, and it never gets put back together. We're going to bite this off a little at a time, take little chunks. It's just here and there. You don't need to get it all done at once. It's really expensive to get it all done at once. Just bite off little chunks at a time, and it'll get done eventually. Don't overwhelm yourself with doing too much at once. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed, take a little break from it, but just start seeing it as smaller to manage pieces. There's no reason to look at this as one huge chunk and say, I have to get all of this done at the same time. No, it's not going to happen that way. I'm going to try to work on it every week, and we'll do updates every week on it. We're also going to still do the off-roading as I can. As I said, once snow flies in Michigan, the trails are kind of designated for the snowmobiles, so we won't bother them. And we'll just keep working on the Scout all winter, and we'll see what we can get done. I'm not rushing myself, and I'm not going to overwhelm myself with it. And we'll get it done eventually. So I'm going to start on the front bumper, get that off there. Looks like it's only like 4 bolts and one of them's already broke out. I'm going to get that plow mount, that last piece out of the grill, and maybe take the headlight rings out in buckets. There's some rust repair to do around there, and take that patch off. There's rust repair to do around the turn signals on the front. I don't know if those are original ones or not. I'll check into that. And just get little pieces done at a time. It don't need to be all done at once. Okay, well, that was a lot more work than it should have been, but I did get both light buckets out, turn signals, side marker lens covers off. I removed that patch that somebody had crudely put on the front corner there, and it made it a lot worse underneath there. If you're going to do patches, at least treat the metal or something underneath. It'll just get worse. I mean, the patch is going to catch some moisture and create major issues later. So, but of course, as everybody's seen on this Scout, every piece that comes off is going to create more work. So it's no big deal. The project continues, and this is it for tonight. I'm going to restart this video tomorrow and get some more work done. I'd like to get that windshield out of there, but first I got to go to the local Harbor Freight and get one of those shipping blankets or transport blankets so I can wrap it up real good and hopefully not break it. So that concludes tonight. See you in the morning. Okay, it's the next day, afternoon actually. Kind of been loafing around all day. I'm going to take a flapper wheel to the surface rest on the front of this, find out how many holes I can get, and then I'll probably take a break and run to the Harbor Freight so I can get that blanket and get that windshield out so I can work on that windshield frame too. But for right now, I'm gonna just grind away. I've done a little bit. I'm gonna grind away at the surface rust, see how bad it gets. I might break out the welder and weld some patches in. I'm not gonna go into detail on welding or anything like that. That just causes big arguments. I can get by on my welding. Yes, there's people out there that can do better, and yes, there's people out there that are worse, and I'm not gonna start that fight. So I will take most of that surface rust off and maybe bleep back on here in a few minutes. As you can see, I've kind of opened up a whole can of worms on this thing. Got some rust to cut out there. It removed itself from there. And, oops, terrible. A couple of dents there. I'll use the slide hammer to get those out. But just doing this side, this is more than I can tackle this weekend anyways. And with the floor pans coming, that's all I'm going to grind for now. And I'll start making little patch panels and see what I can come up with to get that better. And then I'll probably pause and go to Harbor Freight and get that blanket. Okay, I kind of met my goal for this weekend. I've got the windshield out. That wasn't that bad of a job. And I removed that patch from that corner. And then I welded in new steel. Started pulling a dent. So that's pretty much prepped for that corner where I pulled the patch off. I will POR over that for the winter and start working my way down this way. I also want to get the windshield frame off. We'll do a complete video on this windshield frame, welding it up. It actually isn't as bad as I thought. It's pretty solid around the window lip. It's got a hole up there and a hole down here in this bottom corner. But we need to get that hinge to work and find a way to test the wiper system, see if that works. It's got some pretty good rust damage here that we'll cut out and repair on that video. But I've got a half a day left of this weekend, and I'm going to take that windshield frame out and continue maybe down this way a little bit. I got a pretty bad dent there I got to take care of, but we got this big hole taken care of, filled in with steel and welded. That corner is all welded back in. I'll get some POR on that real quick and continue. Okay, we got the POR on it. The cat likes to be in the video too. That corner is all POR'd and ready to set for the rest of the winter, and we can move on. Windshield frame is off and tucked away for a future video. I cleaned up my tools and my metal and stuff. I don't do a lot out here during the week, just on the weekend. So this will be it for this weekend's video. Got a lot of work to do on this. I'm gonna have to work a lot faster, but I'm really not in a rush. I'm not gonna be daily driving this thing once it's done. I figure I'll be a year or so into this. Maybe more. Depends on how the funds work out for it. I am trying to keep it on a budget. If you didn't notice, the steel I was using, I had laid out up there, was just old steel case furniture stuff. And that works well. You get a lot of that stuff for free. And you can get some of this pretty thick. So I like to keep my eyes open for steel case stuff that's thicker, old filing cabinets and desks and just commercial stuff that made out of steel. So we got that corner done. We had that surprise that was really nasty underneath that patch. It was, and I don't know if I got a picture of it I can put in there, but it was worse than this side, and this side will be coming up soon. So everybody have a great week, and with any luck I'll have another video next weekend. So like, subscribe, and share, and I'll keep going. If you have any recommendations for the channel, just give me a shout.